do it.
Sick.
Ready?
Ready.
Hello and welcome to the Rat Nest Podcast, episode number 34 with Espook.
Hey! What's up, bro?
You did the hands. That's cool. That's nice.
The hands.
Yeah.
What do I do with my hands?
Where do I put my hands, guys? What did you ask? How am I doing? I'm doing all right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Just how you doing? What's good?
It's been a long day.
Yeah.
I'm a little under the weather. Worked earlier today, so
We're feeling it. We're all feeling it. What are you doing for work right now?
I work at a coffee shop right now.
Oh yeah. The one on the corner by the pad.
Yeah, there's one like right up the street from me, and then there's one like down in Little Italy. It's like
Okay.
So I work over there.
So that kind of introduces this is the introduction of Morgan. Not only are you roommates with a good friend of mine, but when I was working at the pizza shop, Morgan was working at Cafe Calabria, the coffee shop pizza oven spot, like super Italian spot right across from us. And so I would go in there and I'd get cold brew like pretty regularly. And Morgan would just kind of make fun of me and be like, "Oh, just a cold cup of bean water, huh? That's what you like drinking? This is what's good to you?" And and that's how the relationship bloomed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And no, but for real, like once I started going over there and hanging out with you guys, that spot like really became the clubhouse for a while. Like Dimitri's was really the spot.
Yeah, it was. That was
like,
a rad spot.
It was a short-lived little business adventure, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't really know what I would have done through like the whole COVID year if that place stayed open. And like, do you wait around to like go back to that spot, or like?
Yeah,
I was kind of like 1 foot out the door when everything hit anyways. And so like I don't really think about it, but for the 6 months to a year that I worked there and that we were, hanging out and shit, like it was the spot. It was very fun. And like I think all the neighborhood folks liked it.
Yeah, it was like as a business, it was cool. But then just like all the friendships that I got out of that, and like it was super sick.
Yeah, dude, that's sick.
We had basically all of Matt's people that he worked with there on the podcast already because it was all such rad.
Checking them off.
Yeah, just down the list.
Yeah. I gotta get shout out Brian Walker at North Park Tattoo. If there's any regular that should have already talked to you, it would be that dude. I don't know if he like really has like a big internet presence or if he cares about that shit really, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not that we have a big internet presence.
Yeah, I think he doesn't care about it too much. It doesn't seem like, but
yeah.
He's the reason that I did 2 shows at Pizza Cult instead of just 1 show, because he accidentally put me on the poster for one, and I hit him up about it, and he was like, "Oh shit, that's who you are." He was super chill about it. He's like, "Yeah, no worries. Like you're on the bill. Like you may as well be on the bill."
Hell yeah.
That's transition right there, right into we introduced you as Morgan, and now we can introduce you as Espook as you go by with your artwork and your creative projects.
This is true, yeah.
So that's probably why there might have been a little confusion there on the flyer.
Just a little faceless ghost.
Just making sure that all the listeners don't get the same confusion.
Yeah. We gotta avoid that in the future. Good looking out.
There you go.
Speaking of like, why do you write that? Like, where did that come from?
It honestly, it kind of just started as me trying to do like more than one character, because at the time I was doing this like lizard character mostly, that I'd been doing like legitimately since high school. My friend and I came up with this like little lizard character that was telling everybody to not vote for lizards, because we came up with the idea around when like Barack Obama was first like gonna be president. So we were just like making fun of that. kept drawing that for years and years and got bored of it and started drawing a little ghost. And decided I just kind of wanted to like make the ghost the character of the page as opposed to like something that I drew. So I've just tried to keep it like faceless since then, but it's getting harder and harder as I like branch out into more like mediums and stuff. But
it's a rad little character. That ghost is, it's like it seems familiar, you know what I mean? The first time you see it, it feels like you've already seen it before, know what it is.
Yeah. And it's like I'll be walking down the street and I'll see little tags that like look similar to it, and I'll like get a little bit pissed or like jealous or whatever for a second, like they're fucking taking my character, and then I realize like, bro, it's a fucking ghost. Like Pac-Man could probably sue me if they really wanted to. But yeah, it honestly just started out as just like trying to draw another character, like nothing more than that, but it's been like a cool way to like be self-expressive while still like kind of wearing a mask at the same time.
It's like branding, like, you know, you get familiar with the logo, the icon, whatever, the character, without any letters, like without even it having to say your name or whatever, which I always thought was a cool kind of like power of like a symbol, you know.
Oh yeah, I feel like you get that a lot with like skateboard art and stuff like that, especially like the toy machine boards, especially. Like I definitely draw from that. Like, I don't know, I always thought those characters were cool.
Just like like the simplicity, but then also just like the recognition that is the branding, like that is Toy Machine, that you know, that's Ed Templeton, like in a nutshell. No matter, you know, it's to this day, it's still some of like my favorite shit he does.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a weird, it's like world building without actually having like anything besides the characters whatsoever.
Yeah, it's up to your interpretation of like everything. But also they did a really good job about kind of like piecing those characters together in their skate videos with like the little shorts and the animations that kind of show you some of the personality like behind, you know, the red one-eyed monster, or like the purple one, whatever it is. It's like gives you a little bit of insight, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's something that would be. What's up?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's something that would be cool at some point, is doing like little short animation, like the Flipperama kind of thing in Captain Underpants, like old school comic stuff.
Oh,
have you ever tried to do animation like frame by frame like that before, drawing it all out?
I mean, just as like little art projects in high school, and like maybe here and there, like probably like 10 frames max, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of drawing.
Yeah, we used to always do it like in the corner of the books, like you were saying, like the flip, you know, you flip through the book,
exactly.
It's like stick figures kick flipping, and like that was, you know, that was the go-to animation. But one time I thought I knew what I was doing, and I told this guy, I was like, hey, I want to try to do something for like a video for your song that you're doing. He's like, yeah, sure, like take a crack at it. And I drew like hundreds and hundreds of, you know, frames basically at I think like whatever, 9 frames a second or 9 pages a second, like slow movement. And I got nowhere. It was so defeating, you know, trying to do animation by yourself by hand. It was crazy. It was like a ream of paper that equaled up to like 14 seconds. Like it was fucking nuts.
That's insane.
So don't do it if you don't do it.
That's a long-term project. That's a long-term project. We got short-term projects and we got long-term projects.
Programs now, like, you know, in Photoshop, and I'm sure back in the day too, I could have used it and made it easier on myself, but I just didn't know what I was doing. But
yeah,
you can kind of like, there's some intuitiveness into the Adobe programs that help you animate faster now, which is nice.
And actually the new Procreate, you can do like little GIFs and things like that. Like we have every once in a while at the beginning or the end, there's a little thing that's thrown on there with rat nests. And that was a little animation that took very little time, you know, as opposed to having to draw thousands of pictures. probably took a couple hours just to kind of piece together some things.
Yeah.
So the way that you're able to use the new technology with all the layers and how easy and intuitive they've made it, probably what that little piece could have taken somebody a hell of a lot longer than it took me to throw together for this, you know?
Yeah, all the digital stuff that, like, it's insane how much stuff we can do and how realistic we can make things look with all of the programs and stuff that we got going on now, and just like how easy it is to make art.
For sure,
In some
absolutely.
ways. It's at
they've
least
made
easy to produce something.
They've made the tools so anybody can use them. That you don't have to have a whole lot of talent. You got to be able to understand the concept of what you're trying to do, and you can make anything happen.
Well,
Yeah, I
I
feel
think
like
that
it's always been that way though. It's
I was
like
gonna say, yeah, it's
like
like there's always been like a method to painting and doing these things or creating like a certain result if you know how you want it to end up.
but there's like definitely something to be said for like just using crayons and like markers, like charred pieces of sticks and whatever. Like, I think that's something that I wish people understood more, is like you don't have to be using the finest oil paints and stuff. And like in some cases, using those really high quality fine art supplies is really frustrating when you first do it because you don't have any idea.
Mhm.
Whereas like these like colored pencils and stuff like that, like ballpoint pens, like everyone knows how to use a pen. You just gotta like play around with it for a while, and then you can make things with it.
Yeah,
So
you're familiar with it.
Mhm.
I've seen that you use a bunch of different mediums, and I mean, especially with the branding with the ghost, you've got
Mhm.
patches and you've got your stickers and just about everything. Have you gone into like digital media much? Have you like kind of stayed with the physical medias, or what's your favorite?
I have only been doing stuff digitally for maybe the last like 2 years or something like that.
Okay.
Previous to that, I maybe like doodled in MS Paint when I was supposed to doing a school project. But other than that, like I haven't done really any digital stuff up until the last like 2.5 years.
Do you
Uh,
like it? Is it something you try and stay away from, or is it beckoning you?
oh no, I love it. It's super fun. It's just something that's very like you got to spend a pretty penny if you want to get into it, like you got to buy the computer and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
taken me a while to get to a place where I have a computer that is like fast enough to handle everything, to where I'm not just like changing one thing and then waiting for the computer to catch up for hours and hours and hours. So
Yeah.
now it's like, at least it's like doable.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, that's the toughest part, because the technology is there, but you have to
you
in
got to buy it.
big investment to get the ability to use that technology. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. It's super fun. It is overwhelming to learn for sure. But especially through like COVID and everything, just being home, like I had all the time in the world to just fiddle around with it and play around with things and do little collages and stuff. So it's been cool to have the time and the resources like actually intersect and be able to learn digital stuff. But
I was just trying to pinpoint like a time frame. Did I already move from San Diego when we did the Zoom, or I mean the zine? When
yeah, you
we
did.
were sick in bed.
Yeah.
I must have just had moved because the cover was like the house, the yellow house, like by my house on
Yeah.
El Cajon. And I remember doing a lot of those drawings in San Diego, but I was trying to like pinpoint it, and I didn't date the shit. You know what I mean? I have like one left, and it's just is what it is. But dude, it's already been a year and a half, year since that. Like, seems so
Thank you,
crazy.
yeah, I know, right? It seems
Fucking
like so short, but also like such a long time.
yeah.
I'm trying
Like,
to pull it out of its protected bag.
COVID kind of fucked up like my whole frame of reference. Maybe just being out here in the desert and not like being, I don't know, it all just seems new still, even though it's been a year and a half,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Sick in bed number 4. Right
Dude,
there.
number 4.
2020 coming at you hot.
2020 it was, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick. And that was all, you sent me all Adobe files. Are you still just like primarily using Adobe programs, or are you using Procreate or anything like that?
Mostly just Adobe. I use Photoshop mainly for things. And I don't make a lot of money, so I only have Photoshop and Lightroom from Adobe. And then for like, I haven't fucked around with vector images a whole lot.
Mhm.
But I've been using a program called Inkscape, and that's it's been useful. Seems
It's
powerful.
vector based. It's like Illustrator or what?
Yeah, it's very similar to Illustrator.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then I started messing around with 3D a little bit using a program called Blender. That's a really, really rad program. It's free and open source. But 3D is like, oh my gosh, it's so much learning, because you're like learning a program. And for me, I'm learning how to sculpt. Like I've never really even sculpted like clay or anything like that. So
Mhm.
I'm taking it easy on that one for a while. I'm gonna just like focus on Photoshop and stuff like that right now.
So you have been doing a lot more photography lately, right? I see you've been posting
Yeah.
like live show pics and a whole bunch of action shots that look really crisp, man.
Hell yeah, thank you. It's been super fun. I like, my mom had a camera when I was a kid, so I like shot on that a little bit here and there. But I like just kind of started doing it. And I mean, the shows that we're throwing aren't like, there's no rules. So who's going to tell me that I can't bring my camera to the show? So it's been really fun to like take pictures of that and like document like my friends throwing these freaking ragers of shows, to be honest.
They look like it, man. It looks like a crazy ass party.
Some of them been getting pretty wild. But it's cool. It's like, it's fun because like I don't really like going out just to go out. Like I'll like, I have a select few friends that like I'll go out with them just to go out. And even then it's like we're probably gonna like talk about art or like stuff like that at some point. Like we're all like-minded, and that's whatever. And then but like going to shows with my camera and like being able to hang out with people, but also like kind of fade back and like work on art in a way, it like, it makes me feel like I've used the time in a way that like is most beneficial to me. Whereas like I could go there and like have fun, but then it's like, all right, I wasted 4 hours of time that I could have been doing something else that I like actually love to do, as opposed to just like hitting strangers and drinking beer.
Yeah.
We were just having this conversation about like, yeah, it's really fun to get together and like party and hang out with your boys, but then like almost as if there was no reason to it the next morning, like when you're hungover, it's almost like a weird guilt that you have, that you could have used the time wiser, like you could have done something like more with it than just getting hammered. But
yeah, totally.
you know, I'm still fighting through that battle.
Me too, man. We all have those nights and those days that follow those nights.
Well, but it goes right along with like creativity though. Like you want to make more productive use of your time, but you still want to be social and hang out. So I'll just bring my camera along. And now you actually feel like you did something, or you have something to show for it, even if it was the same amount of alcohol intoxication. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I gotta say, I like that you're willing and allowing yourself to pivot from kind of the branding and the art that you draw and create, and as well as doing photography, because you got to just let the creativity flow in whatever direction it does. And a lot of times people will get real resistive and stand off because that's not what I'm doing, or that's not what I want to create right now. But when it calls and you answer, that's when the best stuff comes out. it's
Yeah.
showing like the like I was saying, they're super crisp. The colors are great. Whatever your like however you're filtering them, it's looking good, man.
Thank you. It's just a lot of, honestly, it's just me taking a lot of pictures and like knowing a little bit about lighting, but mostly just taking a lot of pictures. But, yeah, I don't know, like exactly what you were saying. Like you got to keep the creativity flowing. Like as soon as you dam it up, if you, and like I've done this, I'm speaking from experience here. I'm not like just judging other people like, oh, you like, I definitely do this where it's like, oh no, but like I want to be painting right now. And like I might have this cool idea for an illustration, but like it's not paint. And so I just want to paint. And then the painting comes out shitty and like I'm not having fun. And then I didn't do this illustration and I forget whatever the idea was. And so I think it's definitely like as soon as you like feel that urge to create something, like you got to get it down somehow, whether it's like taking the picture right there, whether it's on your phone or on your camera, or like jotting that note down to yourself on a receipt and shoving it in your pocket or whatever it is.
Even
Like,
sometimes that's enough, is just to
yeah.
write it down, have the idea put down for later so your brain can kind of develop it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Dude, my like iPhone notes, especially with the show and shit, like sometimes there'll be stuff that I just want to like touch on, and I'll just write down more so ideas, or like maybe even like a broader like concept. It's not necessarily specific, but the one that I always bring up because it's just funny to me, and I read it like later. I probably did it while I was drunk and then like read it like a few days later. It just says Stone Cold Steve Tapas. And just the idea of like Stone Cold Steve Austin like having like appetizer plates is the funniest shit to me. And I don't know why it's in my phone. I don't know why I like thought to write it down as a note, but I thought it was really good.
I have a lot of notes that are very similar to that. Like, what the hell was I like? Was I sober? Was I not? Like, what's going on?
Like I vaguely remember like writing something down my phone, but I didn't know it was Stone Cold Steve Tapas.
Yeah.
So how much has, I mean, obviously I know the answer for Matt and myself for sure. I don't know you very well enough to, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine. But how much does alcohol allow you to loosen up and create? Like, are you the type that really just wants to like create whatever it is and alcohol gets in the way? Or are you the type that like Matt and I, where it motivates you and gets you going, and how does it affect you?
I think for me it's definitely like I play it by ear for sure. Like there's definitely days where I'm like, nah, like I can't drink today. Like if I drink, I'm just gonna get sleepy and like fall asleep or whatever, like be in a bad mood or whatever. But like there's definitely times where it's like, you know what, like I'm gonna go down to the corner store, I'm gonna buy myself a 40 and I'm gonna stay up all night and just like make dumb posters about dumb shit that make me laugh, and no one's ever gonna see them, and it's gonna be awesome.
For sure. Heck yeah. There's always this stigma about artists and creatives, and especially like musicians and stuff, that they're the tortured souls or the broken, you know, and so that's always the alcohol or drugs that gets in the way. Oh, they could have been so great without it. But I often think when I hear that, like, you don't know, they might have been a complete square. They might not have been able to create a single bit of what they're going, that they created this amazingness, if they didn't allow themselves to kind of disassociate or ultra associate, depending on their drug of choice, to make it happen.
Yeah. And like I feel like pretty much, I feel like creative pursuits are like you're just trying to like get out of your head and help other people get out of their head too. And like one pretty simple way to do that is drugs and alcohol. Like you can do it with a lot of things, like meditation. You can go on a vacation, like you can do a lot of things to get out of your headspace, but it is very convenient to just like drink beer, smoke a joint.
Yeah, create.
Exactly.
And we're not condoning anyone's like abusive lifestyle as far as drugs and alcohol goes.
Yeah.
But I also like, just in the sense of, if I think about a drawing or if I think about an illustration that I need to do too long, I will get less done than if I just loosen up and start just hitting ink to paper and putting out things. Like they might not be the right one the first time, but at least if I can get that idea going and I can work it out, I feel like sometimes a few beers like helps.
Oh yeah. I think that's like I think that a lot of people feel the exact same way. I know there's many times where I do the exact same things. Like I just need to get it out. But I think exactly what you're saying. We're not condoning abusive behavior.
Right.
Like getting out of your head is definitely something that you have to do if you're going to be an artist or a creative of any type.
Absolutely.
So figure out which way works for you.
Right. What works for you and what's conducive to the like lifestyle you want to be living. And you said there's so many different ways to kind of get that energy or get those juices flowing. It's not necessarily like a one-trick pony or like there's one thing that I have to do. I think if you rely on that as a crutch to be like my only creativity comes when I'm like this or I do this, no matter what it is, it's not as pure. You know what I mean? Like it's
absolutely. Because you're forgetting that your creativity comes from like inside of you or around all of us, like whichever your take on that is. But like if you suddenly mistake your creativity for coming out of a bottle, then you're going to lose your creativity like that. Or you won't lose it, but it's going to get dammed up like that.
Absolutely. And it's like moderation, every once in a while that creative flow, it needs a little bit of lubrication to help it just kind of push along. It needs a little bit of a boost, and it's great. That's when you go out with your boys, you go to a show or rage or whatever. But absolutely, like it's all about moderation for sure.
And like you said, it's like vacationing. Like I always feel reset like when I come home after being gone for a few days, and it's like I really liked enjoying this new space and like this new idea of what's around me, but it's like very nice and comforting to come home. There's something like to be said about that.
Oh yeah, even like the most stressful vacations, like they take me out of like where my head's at right before the vacation, and then like coming home is so welcoming after that. It's like it could be a terrible vacation, but it still has that same effect of like getting you out of that headspace, and then you come home and you're all cozy and you're like, all right, it's time to make some art about how pissed I was.
Yeah. Dude, so also, what's the connection? Are you playing music? Or are you just hanging out with like all these guys that you're taking pictures with? As far as like the concerts go, are you in a band?
I'm not in a band. No, I took a total of maybe like 8 months of guitar and bass lessons in my life. And I just wanted to do my own thing, and they wouldn't let me. They made me practice things. They made me practice. But no, I would say like the main connection that I have is through Christian Hell, who started Hong Kong Fuck You. He is the brother of one of my old bosses. So that's how we met at the climbing gym that I was working at. And that's kind of how I started going to shows and stuff, was going to his shows, and then people like being welcoming and friendly little punks. And yeah, it's cool. It's been wild to like, I feel like every time that I go, I like know more and more people. So it's cool.
That's cool.
Like the scene's really like thriving right now.
Yeah. I don't know if I was like an introvert per se, but I feel like I kept myself out of kind of discovering those circles and stuff. Like San Diego is intimidating. It's a big city. But it wasn't until my last few years living there that I felt comfortable like kind of like reaching out or like talking to people that I might not necessarily know very well. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And I think that's another thing, like that's another reason that I really like taking pictures at shows, because it's like it's a really easy way for me to like break off a conversation, to be honest. Like I like every conversation I'm in, like I promise you I'm invested in it, but like my social energy is so low sometimes that it's just like, all right, like I got to go hide behind the camera for a little while and like just
Recharge.
take pictures and just be here and experience this. And like, we'll catch up later, but I gotta go be in my zone for a little while.
Hey, that's honestly a super smart and like self-aware thing to be able to do. Like to be able to break off at a party rather than overloading yourself and becoming overwhelmed and having to leave. It's like, give me 5 minutes and I'll recharge and I'll go back in for 10 and then give me 5 more and I'll go back in.
Exactly.
Too many people think it's like, oh, I'm not allowed to take time off at a party or take a moment to breathe. It's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
you found a loophole. Like, I'm just gonna sit behind the camera for a little while. We'll be good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be like a little alley cat run in and out.
Yeah, there it is. Well, I've really enjoyed getting to know you right now and talking and figuring out what you're about. This is rad. Thank you so much for being here, dude. The photos all look great, and keep doing all those mixed mediums and keep that brand stamped, man. It's becoming identifiable.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
For anyone keeping track at home, if you guys have your Rat Nest bingo card, Jim said identifiable and beckon on this episode. So go ahead and mark off beckon.
I didn't know we had bingo cards going.
So sue me, I'm trying to expand my vocabulary. Gotta fill an
Man
hour at
contains
least
depth.
once a week. I need more words.
He contains depths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of skimming off the top of the dictionary.
Dude. All right. Well, this was a short one, but I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much for bullshitting with us and talking. Is there anything you need to plug or specifically anything you want to shout out?
No, just everyone who's making art, keep making art. And everyone who's not making art, you should try it out. You might like it.
Where can they find your art online, on social media platforms, anything like that?
You can find my art on Instagram. My handle is espook.jpg. I just changed it, so I had to think about it. It's espook.jpg. I started a page for photos as well that I've put maybe like 10 posts on. But that one is espook.raw, RAW. And awesome. Yeah, I don't know.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, and also we do have a Spook prints in the Rat Nest shop online.
That's true. Yeah, we got a Spook prints in the Rat Nest shop. I got some handmade patches still. I'm gonna have to hit you up for some more stickers at some point.
Word.
But yeah.
Yeah, man. So thank you again, man.
Thank you guys.
We're gonna wrap it up, I guess. This has been another episode of the Rat Nest Podcast. You can catch us every week on YouTube for the videos and anywhere you get your podcast for the audio. Go to ratneststickercode.com to purchase any stickers, prints, zines, t-shirts, original artwork, and more. Jim?
Hi. Nice to see you all again.
Hey. All right. See you guys next week.
Later on, man. Thanks for being here, bro.
Or Rat Nest.
Yeah, dude.